And we're here again. I'm with Rob. It's Brian Socha. What's up, Rob? There's so much to get to today, as always. I feel like we have just this plethora, if that's a correct word, of things that we need to talk about today. Everything from De La Hoya making a comeback, Oscar De La Hoya making a comeback. You have thoughts on that, I know, as do I.
Man.
Also, Anderson Silva. This is another one. What's going on with this? Anderson Silva is going to fight Julio Cesar Chavez Jr.
Yeah. I like that, and I'll tell you why.
Oh, I don't. I'll tell you why. Of course, we're also going to reveal, this is huge, the BKFC rankings for the heavyweights. The official ones, you've seen them online before. These are the official rankings, yes, from within BKFC. We've been waiting for that, so have you, so we're excited for that later on in the show. And my man, Tom Shoaff, is going to be joining us.
Yeah, buddy.
And we're having him on because Tom Shoaff, the man with the mustache that you love, it's because he's going to be fighting on the upcoming card. We'll talk about that with him.
Just announced.
Very excited about that. We're going to talk about all that stuff. But the first thing I think we should get into here, Rob, is the fact that De La Hoya making a comeback. I mean, he wants an MMA fight, apparently.
Yeah, this guy, dude. Call it a day, man. Between his rants and Dana White calling him a cokehead and just going off the rails. I mean, maybe he's back on it. Maybe he's on the white horse again.
The white horse. He's riding the white pony. Booger sugar.
Yeah, he needs to just chill, man.
I don't know. My thing is, he's asking for an MMA fighter. Is there a reason he's asking for an MMA fighter? I mean, does he? If they go, is it going to be MMA rules? Or are they going to box?
I think it's boxing. There's no way he would.
That's
not
why he wants an MMA fighter.
5 seconds in an MMA ring. I wouldn't.
No, nobody. The thing is, once you go down when you're with an MMA fighter and you're not a fighter, if your stand-up game's going, De La Hoya's done.
It's curtains. It's like Couture versus whoever the fighter. He's slipping my mind right now.
I'm not going to know either. My mind is so tired today. I know, to pull the curtain back a little bit. I know
James Toney.
There he goes. There he goes. I got my Tiger Life.
That was embarrassing.
Only a sip today so far. But if you're looking at Oscar De La Hoya, my thought process would be that this guy was an amazing fighter, right?
Yep.
He's trying to come back. I mean, does he need the money?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
Golden Boy Productions.
That's what I'm saying. So I can't figure out why he wants to come back, but I can figure out why he wants the MMA fighter, as I was saying, because he stands a better chance against an MMA fighter if the stand-up game's not good.
I have two theories on that. The theory is he's actually trying to make a comeback, so he wants a kind of a lob, if you will, a lob fight to get him back, ring rust removed, and obviously a payday. And everybody's doing it. All the cool kids are doing it now.
That's what I was going to say.
You know what I mean? From Tyson to the Pauls, it's just the super fights and McGregors and the Mayweathers.
Why is that? I mean, come out and get your money. A lot of guys are doing that. But do you think that as fans, that's because certain combat sports are lacking and people have a thirst for something else, or it's just a new genre? It's a flash in the pan. There's got to be a reason for that.
Sure. So I was actually going through the Twitter feeds and Twitter comments yesterday, and somebody, I don't know his name, but he put out there that there are a ton of boxing fans out there, loyal boxing fans. And I think a lot of people are underestimating how many true boxing fans are out there. And the argument was, is John Jones versus somebody else in MMA, a super fight, something that the fans want to see, or will Tyson Fury sell more pay-per-views? And the argument was there's more boxing fans out there, so hence why everyone's trying to do these super fights. And I think it's easier, and I say that very respectfully when I say easier, meaning you have a puncher's chance, in the ring, versus MMA. You really need to be extremely well versed. Yeah, you're going to get choked out by anyone that knows their shit. Boxing, you can kind of just put your guard up. But again, respect both disciplines 100% and not downplaying anyone.
Now, I'd be curious to know, and you can put this in the comment section if you'd like. We'd like to know from you. I mean, you are the fans. You're friends to us almost. You're all building this thing together.
Family.
That's right.
Familia.
Familia. La Familia. Diaz Beltran. We love that one.
Yeah.
Good reference, Rob. I like that. So I'm curious, though, if you're a fan, you're here, you're a fan of combat sports. I mean, is this something you're interested in seeing, Oscar De La Hoya come back? I don't know. It's one of those things where I'll always watch because I'm curious. Is it a curiosity factor? Is that what sells the fight? I don't know.
Or is it too watered down? And I think you were going to get into next was the Anderson Silva
talk
doing
about
the exact same thing. Yeah. So way back when, and I want to say 5+ years ago, 5+ years ago, they were trying to build a super fight between Roy Jones Jr. and Anderson Silva because Anderson Silva's boxing was just top tier. I mean, he was literally picking people apart in the UFC. I mean, he annihilated like almost every one of his, and he made everyone look like like jokes. His head movement was great. His boxing was great. His stand-up was great. And obviously he's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. So he's very well-versed. And that was the super fight that they were trying to get to. And it looks like now with his, I guess, retirement or
whatever it is,
departure from UFC, he's going to be entering the boxing world as well, man.
I mean, I'll watch again out of curiosity, but he's taking on Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., and that's why Paul's a go Jr., because I wonder if mainstream people that might watch this fight and know both names might not know what they're getting into. Is that a reason? Because I don't think Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. is, with all respect to him, the greatest fighter. He's not his father. He's not. Is that why Anderson is kind of dipping his toe in first to see what he does?
Well, I mean, just the name alone, his name and his father's name holds a lot of weight. He's had some questionable bouts, and I'm sure I'm going to get ripped apart in the comments section. Some very game opponents that it almost like he quit, like he didn't really bring his A game, and that was kind of his argument. He didn't take his training seriously, and some people were like, well, he's just, a silver spoon living in his father's shadow. Now, what does this do to his career? In my mind, nothing, man. It really doesn't.
Well, I see in the comments section, some people are kind of agreeing what we were talking about earlier. Joe Miggs in there. Hi, Joe. He's saying that it's basically a way to take money, and it's just like excuse me, I can't see on my glasses on. I forgot my contacts. He says that it is it went away. There it is. It's a sideshow for boxing, and real fighters and fight fans don't like this. And I'm kind of seeing that too. They don't like it, but I feel like some of them tune in because it's the car crash factor.
Sure.
Right?
Exactly. It's almost good analogy. It's like NASCAR. You sit there for the race and you want to know who's going to win. You want it to be extremely competitive. You're looking at the teams, you're looking at the drivers and all the good stuff. And then once in a while it's like, oh, there's a crash and there's it's a flash in the pan. It's a little bit of excitement, but it's not the true disciplines. It's not the true competitiveness. It's a circus act. Let's call it what it is. It's
the clowns running around. I know. Yeah, but again, I'll tune in to watch clowns because I'm a clown. So the other thing I want to talk about, you can agree, it's true.
I'm going to watch it.
We all talk this shit and everyone watches it. Yeah. The other thing I want to talk about, getting off this kind of stuff, we got to talk about BKFC. I mean, that's the home promotion. That's why everyone's here. Yep. A lot of stuff going on in BKFC. Looking forward to BKFC 17 coming up. Yeah. You got the main event. You got Dylan Kleckler versus Josh Burns. Both these guys are coming to swing. They're coming to fight, and it's a heavyweight title eliminator. So whoever wins is going to take on whoever wins Beltran and Shoemaker. And any of those fights are going to be good. I mean, I don't want to put you on the spot here, but when you look at Kleckler Burns, by the way, it's available on the BKTV app, BKFC.com. That's going to be, I think, a fun fight to watch. We've seen what Kleckler does, and we've seen
he knocks motherfuckers out.
That's what I'm saying. We've seen it.
So does Burns.
Well, Burns too. We've seen him, and I know Burns. We're going to talk about the heavyweight rankings later, and maybe where those guys fall, if they fall in the top rankings. Sure. It's going to be interesting to see. But that's going to be a fun fight to watch, and a lot of people excited for it. But another thing that I'm excited for, he's going to join us in probably about 5 minutes. Tom Shoaff, we just found this out, is going to be on the card.
Yeah, he's going to be on the card. That's awesome, man. I'm excited.
I'm excited to see what Tom does, because Tom, I noticed he fights. I'm going to ask us about his weight. His weight's all over the place. He never seems to fight at the same weights.
Yeah. Apparently, he's not been fighting in his, and he can speak to this, in his true weight class. He's been going up. He's been doing large cuts. And anyone in wrestling, anyone in fighting knows that. Yeah, not at all. It's taxing. And
then you got to wonder when a guy cuts weight. I always see that when guys drop a lot of weight classes, that's when they get in the ring, squared circle here, it's going to be a lot harder for them. Mentally even. Everything you see is just different. It's just different. And I can't imagine having to cut down 10, 20 pounds from your walk around weight. That's why these guys and these women are warriors, man. I couldn't do that.
Yeah, me neither.
I'd drop like 3 pounds wrestling in high school with a trash bag and me running around. I was complaining, going to the bathroom.
I'd be in the sauna for 5 minutes and tapping out
this
like
is
a
terrible.
pump.
So I think the respect they deserve is before the fight as well as they prepare for it. Also on that card, very excited for this. I know you are too. We were talking about this off the air. Lorenzo Hunt, the juggernaut, taking on Josh Dyer. And we've seen a lot out of both these guys. Yep. And I mean, I don't want to put you on the spot. Ask you who thinks going to win.
Fight of the night.
Yeah,
it could be fight of the night.
I think it could be too.
Yeah, it's tough, man. I mean, Nate's been doing a great job with matchmaking these guys, And that's going to be an exciting fight. That's going to be a treat, man. It's always like this last minute, almost Christmas gift. It's like, hey, congratulations, you now get to watch this amazing fight.
It is.
It's going to be a wonderful bout for sure.
It's cliche to say, but the cards I feel like keep getting better. We always say that, but it's
don't jinx it. Knock on wood.
It will, man. It's going to be a great card. There's no knocking on wood. It's guaranteed.
Absolutely.
But as far as Lorenzo Hunt, I mean, we've seen a lot out of this guy. He's very athletic in the ring. He's not just a fighter. This guy is just I might call him BKFC's best pure athlete. I mean, all around, not just in the
picked
squared
up
circle.
somebody's car. It was on Instagram that he lifted up the back of a car, and his power speaks for itself. I mean, he's been knocking out, like, not just knocking people out and then being conscious, like totally dropping people with, like, you know, vicious shots. And, you know, he's polarizing, man. Yeah. He's been standing over people, yelling. He gets emotional.
He gets very into it, yeah. And he also, the thing with Lorenzo, he was very excited about lifting the car up, as I would be if I could lift up a car. Yeah. He was actually showing us, here's another angle of it. It wasn't like fake. He actually, that's true. If you saw one angle of this guy actually picked the woman's car up outside of a gym and moved it back. And there was more than, one... It blows my mind.
No, I know.
More than one angle of it that wasn't
when you're
released.
bored, when you finish up 30 minutes of cardio and you finish up, you know, back and buys, let me go outside and lift up a couple of cars.
Work on the tries a little more. Do some squats with the car over your neck. And then Josh Dyer, I mean, he's great too. We've seen a lot out of him. Can you speak on Josh Dyer a little bit?
Dude, what a savage, man. He went into his last fight just literally taking shots and just moving forward nonstop. Prior to BKFC, he was another organization. Don't want to drop the name because I'm not sure how BKFC feels about that. Don't want to get the suits to hem me up after this, but he was in a previous promotion. He won, so he's kind of undefeated in bare knuckle. So he's exciting. It's exciting
to see that. And I know Tom Shoaff coming up in just a couple minutes. Excited to have him on. The man with the mustache, the man who just is so much fun to watch in the ring and squared circle. And he's also fun to have on the interviews with us. We've had interviews with him before. Wonderful guy, very open. A lot of great questions we're going to ask him. But remember, let's talk about BKFC 17 one more time before we get to Shoaff. You have Kleckler Burns, heavyweight title eliminator, insanely awesome. Yep. Looking forward to that. You have, we don't know who Shoaff's fighting yet, do we? Do you know? I don't know. No, I'm not sure. I just found out he's on the card. I just know that he was booked for this card. That's exciting. And then, of course, Lorenzo Hunt versus Josh Dyer. These three people or three matches, no matter who Tom's fighting, alone get me excited for the show. And so BKFC.com, if you want to check more of that out. We're going to get to Tom Shoaff. He's actually waiting patiently. Maybe I don't know if he's oiling his mustache or grooming his mustache. We're going to get to him right after this from our sponsors, our buddies at Tiger Life.
Tiger Life is not about race or religion, black or white, young or old, male or female. It's not about where you live or where you're from. It's about finding your why in life. Tiger Life is a way of life. It's a purpose, a light, the future. We all have a story to tell, so let's tell it. It's time to be heard. Just remember, we may not be able to rewrite our story, but we sure as hell can change the ending. Tiger Life. Energy never tasted so good.
Love you, but thank you. Oh, that was on the air. We're not paying attention to our cues. I think Rob just said he loved me. That was very nice. Pop. I love you too, Rob. We love Tom Shoaff too. He's here with us. Tom Shoaff, one of our favorite fighters in BKFC, always comes on the interviews. We love talking to him, and we love watching him fight. And we love his mustache. I always talk about your mustache, Tom. How are you feeling today, man?
I'm feeling pretty great, man. I appreciate you guys having me on. I'm glad to hear that I'm one of your favorites.
Yeah, we enjoy you. You're very personable, and you're fun to watch in the squared circle, too. We have so much to ask you. I mean, I'm going to start right off. We're excited to see you on BKFC 17. Very excited for that. We're not sure who your opponent is yet. I don't think you're supposed to say that if you know yet either. I don't know when they're going to release that.
Yeah, I just got the information last night. Nate was like, it looks like, or excuse me, the day before, Shoaff's looking to, be on this card. I'm like, that's awesome. I want to get him on the show. Dude's mad exciting, great fighter. Well,
thank you for coming on. And Tom, the last time we talked about you and heard about you, you were working in Leonard Garcia's camp as he fought Joe Elmore. I'm just curious, as you went down there to work with Leonard Garcia, probably give some tips about Joe and train with him. What did you learn, though? I mean, you had to learn something from working with another fighter that you can add to your repertoire.
Oh, absolutely. Working with a guy like Leonard really puts hard work into perspective. Leonard's been a guy who's been in the sport for, 22 years, and he knows what it takes to be a champion. He knows what it takes to be great. So to be able to go down and spend a couple of weeks with him and his family and wake up every day with that championship mentality of we're going to go out and we're going to be the best we can be. it really helped put things in perspective for me and how hard I need to be working and how smart I need to be working. Yeah, so I would say as far as the biggest thing I learned while I was down there is hard work, like the true definition of hard work. I mean, I'm no stranger to it, but the consistency that Leonard puts in and day out, inside of the gym and outside of the gym, it really hit home for me. It meant a lot.
Well, it showed, I mean, that you were able to help get him ready to in his defeat against Joe Elmore. You know, you fought Joe Elmore, like we said, and you've been hit by Joe Elmore. I wonder if in your training with Garcia, did he ever hit you with a live round by accident?
You know, we were very smart about how we were training, and we the best way that I can describe it is, of all the rounds that we put in, I think we only got 3 live rounds in. And that was right before I had left. It was about a week before his fight. And it was more so just kind of like a tester, you know, a couple of testing rounds. Like, I'm going to come after you. I'm going to put stuff on you. I'm going to throw with heat, and I want you to do the same. You know, I don't want the first time you're in a firefight to be that night. So yeah, about a week before that fight, we gave each other 3 good rounds. And I can attest to what everybody else has said. Leonard Garcia hits really hard. You know, we were obviously, you know, Leonard's a big teddy bear. He's a sweetheart, you know, so he doesn't want to hurt anybody. He doesn't want to damage anybody. So every time he would throw punches, like even if we're just practicing or, you know, just training, things like that, and he'd catch me a little too hard, he was always apologizing and always very apologetic about the situation. And after the sparring rounds, it was the same. It was, you know, the same Leonard, like, I'm sorry, I didn't want to do it, so on and so forth. So if that's how hard Leonard hits when he's not trying to hit hard, I don't want to be the guy on the other side of the cage, you know, or on the other side of the ring. You know, there are a lot of people who I'm sure are breathing a sigh of relief now that Leonard Garcia has retired.
Well, let me ask you that too. I mean, as you went through this camp with him, Leonard Garcia retired. Seemingly to me, I was in the squared circle with him when he did it. It seemed to be out of nowhere to me. Did you have any idea training for this fight? I mean, you looked in his eyes. You trained with him. Was he open with you? Did he say, if this fight goes the way I want it, I'm going to call it a career?
Not in so many words. It was more Leonard wanted to prove to everybody that he wasn't just a brawler. He wanted to prove to everybody that he was a smart fighter, that he could go out there, he could jab, he could move, he could be technical, he could put combinations together, and he could look like an intelligent fighter. And he wanted to be the number 1 guy, you know? And so he wanted to go out there and he wanted to prove that he could be smarter than Joe and be more technical than Joe. And once he did that, he was going to hang it up. He didn't want to be like a lot of other guys who hang it up 3 years after they should have. You know, they go on a 4 or 5, 6 fight losing streak and they're like, all right, I don't have it anymore. I'm done. Leonard wanted to go out on top, and he wanted to prove that he had what it had taken to be an intelligent fighter all along, and put a capstone on his career. I think so that was absolutely the mentality and the game plan going into that training camp.
I think he did a great job with that too. And I know that Rob and I were talking off the air about this. It's funny you brought this up about how he wanted to prove something. So Rob, I'm going to let you take this question because we were just talking about this earlier before we knew you were coming on about you as a fighter. What was your question we talked about off the air?
It looks like Leonard's training, your camp did extremely well. You got him very prepared, and you know he's riding off into the sunset. Now it's your turn. What do you want to prove, Tom? What's next for you? What would you like to prove in BKFC?
I would love to prove that I'm not a journeyman. I'm 1-3 in the BKFC, and if you watched my fights, you wouldn't know that.
Yeah.
You know, like if you just look at me on paper, you look at my record, and I look like I've got no business being a professional fighter. That's what I want to change. That's what I want to fix. And that's my mission and my goal over the next couple of months and in the next couple of years is I know I have what it takes to be great. I know I have what it takes to be a world champion. I can be a world champion in this sport. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You just watch my fights, but I can't be fighting guys that are a lot bigger than me. I can't keep getting into these 165-pound matches, these 170-pound matches. I fought Joe at 165. I fought Diego at 165. I fought Julian at 170. Like, I got on the scale this morning. I was 164 pounds. Like, I've got no business being in there with guys that are cutting from 170, 180 plus. So my goal from here on out is to be at my proper weight class and prove that I belong in this sport, that I belong with this organization.
Well, I know you're talking about the different weights, and I love when you guys like you, because you kind of do the interview for me. You bring up things that I want to talk about and make it easier. So I appreciate that. You're going to have taken my job and Rob's job here too, as well as fighting. Your weight classes, they seem to be all over the place. And I will say, I want to compliment the Julian Lane fight for fighting 170, man. That was a hell of a fight. I mean, you're a true fighter for going up that much in weight. I didn't realize it was that much up. And then you look at the Joe Elmore fight. 165. And, the thing I've always wondered about the Joe Elmore fight, and I'm glad I have you on to ask you this, every time Joe would knock you down, I mean, it looked like he hit with force, but you got knocked down, but then you'd be like annoyed that you got knocked down. You could see all over your face, like frustrated or annoyed, pissed off about it. Can you speak on that a little bit?
Well, there's a lot of variables and there are a lot of details going into that fight. I don't really bring any of them up because they'll come off as excuses.
Okay.
So I'll kind of leave that to the wayside. But in that fight, I was in shape. I was prepared. I was ready to do everything necessary to win. I just didn't have the size behind me. That's the long and the short of it. Joe's a big guy. He's not tall, but he is wide and he is dense. He came into that fight. I think I heard he was 194 pounds when he stepped into the squared circle. So like when you're fighting a guy who's got 30 pounds on you, he hit hard. He cracked me. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But I was never in a position where I felt scared or I felt like, oh shit, I need to take a step back. I was outweighed by 30 pounds. And every time I took a shot, I'm off balance and I dropped, with the exception of the third round. The end of the fourth round, he dropped me with that overhand right. That one got me. That one wobbled me a little bit, and I hit the canvas and I was like, son of a bitch. But all the other ones, like I said, I was off balance. So, I didn't really have my feet underneath me. He caught me with some good counters and some good timing, and he dropped me. I'm not going to take anything away from him. He dropped me four rounds, or in 4 out of 5 rounds, like, good on you, bro. I'm happy for you. But you take 30 pounds away from you, or you put 30 pounds on me, I'm going to fucking murder you. Plain and simple.
There it is.
I kind of want you to put that weight on now, Tom, because I want to see that fight. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to lie to you, man. As he fixes his mustache like a true bare knuckle fighter. I love it. Tom, did you speak to Joe? I know a lot of times respect is earned and gained in the squared circle. Maybe you had it before going in, but did you speak to Joe afterwards at all? And what did that conversation look like? Sound like?
We really didn't speak much after the fight, outside of your typical cordial, great fight, thank you, it was awesome, but let's really push for that bonus because we know we deserved it, so on and so forth, things like that. But I would say outside of 5-7 days after the fight, I haven't had any communication with Joe. We did that one podcast where we talked about the fight, and that was, pretty cool. And then, respectful. And then, we've had a couple of exchanges on Instagram, basically about the conversation we just had about how he he won the fight because he dropped me 4 times. And it's like, all right, bro, you hit me 10 times that whole fight. I hit you fucking 60 times a round. I'm not entirely sure how you can say you won, but yes, you got the judge's decision. I won't dispute you on that. Yeah, that outside of that, no, I haven't really had much communication with Joe.
Tom,
he seems like a pretty cool guy.
Tom, speaking to that, you were knocked down, but obviously from a damage standpoint, you inflicted a whole lot more damage than Joe did on you. Where do you think the rankings, or excuse me, not the rankings, but the refs' decisions on whether you should have won the fight, lost the fight decision? Do you think it should have been closer? Think you won the fight?
I think it's very difficult. All right, so there's going to be, this answer is going to have a handful of angles.
Sure.
From a pure boxing perspective, not bare knuckle, from a pure boxing perspective, you cannot win a fight if you get dropped 4 rounds out of 5. All right?
Understood.
But this is not pure boxing.
Mm-hmm.
Plain and simple. This is bare knuckle fighting. This is chaos at its finest. Plain and simple. All right. So when you've got 2 guys who are going in there and who are going crazy and who are mixing it up, we see it all the time. Knockdowns that don't get counted as knockdowns, they get considered slips. Slips that get called knockdowns. Like, things are chaotic in there. Things are crazy in there. I think the fact that they had adapted in Florida, they had adapted the mandatory 10-8 for the person who, who gets the knockdown. I think it's horseshit. That's my personal opinion. That's a boxing rule, and this isn't fucking boxing. All right. So to get to your point, I would call that fight a draw. Just because he did drop me 4 times. I won't dispute that. He dropped me 4 times. You can't take that away from him. But outside of those 4 punches, I beat the life off of you. I permanently rearranged your fucking face, dude. If you think you won that fight, you are sadly fucking mistaken. So again, from a boxing perspective, I get it, but this isn't boxing. So we need to revamp these rules, and we need to change things up a little bit because I lost and I'm not happy about it.
Tom Shoaff, we love you, man.
Tom Shoaff, not even just not speaking specifically to your fight. Watching the latest BKFC, I had my gripes with how it was, refed and judged, and I think there has to be some changes. I think for Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship, it has adopted boxing rules and regulations, which it needs to, but I think there certainly is much room for improvement of how fighters damage or controlling. Just there has to be something different. It's not boxing. It's not MMA. It's BKFC. It's a brand new sport.
Precisely.
Needs its own regulations and rules.
So yeah, and I know that they're doing a lot with the weight classes now. They're starting to lock in official weight classes for BKFC and stuff, and that's awesome. Don't get me wrong, that's fantastic. But weight classes are null and void if you can't get the rules down. If you can't get a sanctioning body figured out. I appreciate everything that the Boxing Commission does for us. I appreciate everything that the Gaming Commission does for us. Don't get me wrong, thank you. But if we're going to have our own specific weight classes, we should also get our own specific rule sets. We already get the gloves. Why is it that I got to read a different sanctioning body rule set every place that I go to? In Florida, I got to have those little hand wrap things. In Mississippi, I just got gauze. In freaking Alabama, who knows what they're going to do, So it's maybe they should, if they're going to give us, if we're going to be our own sport, we need our own sanctioning rule set and our own sanctioning bodies.
Well, one of the things that we're doing, actually, first, before I get to this, because I don't want to take too much more of your time, but who do you want to fight? I want to know who you want to fight next, because I don't know who you're fighting. Who would you like to fight? What's the fight for Tom Shoaff that makes the most sense?
Oh man, that makes the most sense
for you?
The guy I'm fighting now, he's I don't want to give up too much because I don't know what I'm supposed to say or if I'm supposed to say anything, but he's from Alabama. I'm pretty sure Alabama, Georgia area. He's He's a young kid. He's talented. He wants to come in and he wants to beat me up, and that's great. You know, I'm really happy for him. I'm sorry that he got me for his fight. I'm sorry that I'm the one who's going to be standing across the ring from him because he's in for a fucking ass whooping. But who do I want to fight?
Yeah,
man. Since I'm down at like the 55, this fight's going to be at 55, and my goal is to start jumping from 45 to 55. I want to be all over that region. So, I mean, if I'm going 45 and 55, obviously I'm going to call out the top contenders. Like, I want to fight Jim Mallers. I want to fight Tyler Goodjohn. After I prove that I belong to be in there, you know, that I belong in this sport, I'm coming after names. I want guys like that. I want top contenders because I want a belt. I want to be a champion. I'm going to be a champion. So that's what I want. That's what I want to do.
Dig it. We're looking forward to see where your career heads in BKFC. We're looking forward to maybe a feud of mustaches between you and David Diaz as well. And
maybe if he wants to meet at 45, we can fight for it.
The loser has to shave their mustache. I'm into that.
Damn right. In the ring.
That's right. I love it.
Nice.
So we got to get to the heavyweight. We're going to release the official heavyweight rankings coming up in a moment here. This is a big deal. So Tom, before we let you go, final question: if you had to rank the top 2 guys in the heavyweight division, who are you picking?
Top 2 guys in the heavyweight division, man.
Stacked.
I mean, I gotta have a biased decision. I gotta go with AJ Adams. Arnold's my man. I love that man to death. Yeah, he's a good friend and a good training partner of mine. So AJ's for sure up there. And then you can't go against the champ, Joey Beltran. You know, so like if there's the two. Those are the 2 guys I think are in the top at heavyweight. There's a lot of monsters there. I won't dispute that in any way, shape, or form. But I don't think that there's anybody that those 2 guys can't figure out a way to beat.
All right, well, we're excited to find out more about the heavyweight rankings. We're excited to have you on here today. And Tom, look, we can't wait to talk to you again. We can't wait to watch you fight. Thanks for coming on, my man.
Thank you guys very much.
Thanks, Tom.
And we have the heavyweight rankings, like I said, coming up. We're going to release them. This has never been released before. This is the first time we're releasing official rankings for the heavyweight division. That'll be up in about a minute, so stay close.
Welcome to the world of Bare Knuckle TV. Watch every live Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship pay-per-view event for only $3.99 per month. Enjoy our all-new library of content, including unlimited access to the full archive of BKFC pay-per-views, behind-the-scenes access, exclusive BKFC original series, and additional live bare knuckle fights from around the globe. You can access it anywhere you want, anytime you want, instantly on most streaming devices. It's available right now on the Bare Knuckle TV app. Over 1,000 hours of on-demand content, uncut and uncensored. All here, anytime you want, anywhere you want, for only $3.99 a month. Subscribe now exclusively at BKTVApp.com.
We are back, and we're going to release the heavyweight rankings. I mean, we've been waiting for this. I know people in the chat have been waiting for this.
This is official, man.
This is
real.
From BKFC's actual rankings. None of this stuff all over the internet you're seeing. As much as we appreciate that, these are the official rankings. These are the rankings we would live and die by. You're going to hear it here first, like a lot of stuff. So, of course, we know. Heavyweight champ, the Mexicutioner from La Familia, Joey Beltran. And we're going to go through each one. Joey is just a guy that's going to eat shots. It doesn't seem to hurt him. He just keeps coming forward.
It's like a tank, man.
He's a monster.
It's like a tank. You could fire everything in your arsenal at this guy. He does not stop coming forward. And it proves it, man. He's got the belt.
Yeah, and you know, Joey said, and I really concur with this. He said that he is the BKFC heavyweight champion of the world, and that makes him the baddest son of a bitch walking the planet. He said that to me.
True story.
And it is true. I mean, who could be tougher than the bare knuckle fighting championship champion? So whoever holds that title, I do truly believe that they're the baddest man walking the planet. Joe Beltran, our champion, we're proud of that. So to start with the rankings, we're going to do the top 4 here. As we go on, I think that number 4, I mean, you can dispute these as well, Rob. I know that you have your rankings as well and your thoughts.
Yeah, I'm going to let you guys, I'm going to let I submitted mine. Everyone submitted their rankings, and the rankings we have now is the collective, the official rankings for Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. We're going to go through that, and then I'm going to go through mine, which
I'm interested to hear.
Yeah, it's you know.
I'm interested to see if they match up. I want your thoughts on
it. It certainly doesn't.
So I guess we should. It certainly doesn't. Well, there's your teaser. All right. So I guess, I don't know. This is a big deal. It's the first time we're announcing rankings. Should we do a drum roll or something?
Yeah, that's.
I feel like Clark Griswold, when they're doing that. All right. So number 4, he's got a heavyweight title eliminator coming up against Dylan Kleckler. Josh Burns, the great Josh the Hammer Burns. Mark Coleman's a big fan of him as well, the legendary Mark Coleman. Josh Burns, he's a heavy hitter. We've seen him. He's 1-0, I believe, in BKFC right now. I know that he's had some fights that were canceled as well.
Yeah. So all right. So let's pause really fast, and I just want to clear the air because we're going to be going through the fighters. We're going to go through rankings, and people are going to question like how were the fighters ranked. This is exclusive for BKFC. Not through their bare knuckle other organizations that they fought in.
Interesting.
But that's something I wanted to talk about.
It's good you brought that up because right away when you see Josh Burns at number 4, if you know bare knuckle, you're gonna wait. He fought in England. He's fought other places.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's fought all these other places. So how's he ranked number 4? That's true. But again, we've only seen him one time here in BKFC. And one of the things I'm thinking is that if we've seen Josh more, he was supposed to fight Sam Shoemaker. If he would have beaten Sam Shoemaker and that fight didn't get canceled because I think COVID or something a while ago, we might have ranked him higher. So
shot to the top.
Yeah, maybe? it's exactly. It's just how the cards fell. So it's no slight on him. He's still an amazing fighter, and we can't wait to see what else he comes with. Josh Burns, the Hammer, ranked number 4 in our official BKFC heavyweight title division. Let's move to number 3. Number 3, I got another drum roll there. Number 3 is actually the guy that we just had Tom Shoaff on that he said it should be one of the top guys. And
Your
he is
best
one of the top
friend?
guys. My best friend. Arnold Adams, who changed his name from Boomaye to the Boogeyman now because apparently when you say his name, people get scared, they run away. Arnold Adams comes off that win against Bobo O'Bannon, the knockout win.
He looked great, man.
He did look
great. He looked like a totally different fighter, man. I mean, wow.
Arnold Adams, first BKFC heavyweight champion. That's got to count for something.
Sure.
I don't want to say anything wrong. I believe his record is 4-1. Don't beat me up, Arnold, if that's wrong. You are the first champion. But you're 4-1, and you've beaten our champion, Joey, I believe.
Yes,
He's also beaten Sam Shoemaker, who's up for a title shot. Yep. So he deserves to be in the top. He really does. Regardless of how Arnold feels about me, apparently he likes me now, or how I feel about him, he deserves to be up there. Arnold Adams, Boogeyman, Boomaye at number 3.
Okay.
As we watch some more highlights here, I mean, Arnold Adams, this guy, when you get hit by Arnold Adams, when you get knocked out, you know you're getting knocked out. I almost got knocked out by him, so I know. He makes me nervous. I say his name and he makes me nervous. If I say it 3 times, he might show up.
I love the, aside from, the rankings that we're going through, of when his name comes up, you two have the best relationship.
I don't know. We keep thinking, he tells me that we're cool, but can you trust a guy like that?
I don't know, man. I don't, try... You're trusting someone that literally punches people and gets punched in the head for a living.
Yeah. Well, a guy that also, he's a bad dude. I'm not going to mess with Boomaye, the Boogeyman. But congratulations, Arnold Adams. Number 3. We're going to see how you climb the rankings, and I think you definitely will. We're waiting to see it. We're excited about that. As we move to number 2. Now, number 2 is an interesting one, in my opinion. Number 2, am I going to get a drum roll this time, Rob? Every time you give me a drum roll. Okay. Number 2, BKFC official heavyweight rankings goes to a guy that is involved in the heavyweight title eliminator, Dylan Kleckler, bad boy.
Yep. In the main event coming up April 30th.
Yeah, you can see it at BKTV App, BKFC.com. And Dylan Kleckler has been walking through people. You've seen him. The guy, he's a monster. He's an absolute monster.
He's no joke. He's quiet. He's that scary guy, man. He's the scary guy where, you bump into him, he doesn't say a thing, and all of a sudden you're at the club and you're doing your thing, and then there's a riot in the right-hand corner because, some dude's starting shit with him. He's just there getting in a drink, and he just handles his business, man. He goes in, he doesn't speak a lot. There's not a lot of drama going on.
He just goes,
puts in hard work, and it shows.
You're talking about being at the club having a drink. I don't know if the guy's drinks. You ever see his abs? He looks pretty good. He's in good shape. I don't know how much drinking he does.
He's probably just drinking water.
Yeah, drinking water, getting ready.
And I threw back a 6-pack of beer.
But Kleckler, now look, if you look at Kleckler's career in BKFC, I believe he's 2-0 right now.
2-0.
Which he's undefeated. That's huge. Now, Chris Jensen he fought, and that I think was the first round that ended. So I think that's Chris Jensen's only fight in BKFC. So you wait the fight like that a little bit, but he ended it quick. And then Frank Tate, I think, was the other win he had, who came off that huge toe-the-line split decision, I think it was, or was it?
Frank
what a fight!
Frank is a great fighter, and he
what a fight. So as you look at Dylan Kleckler taking on Frank Tate, I believe here. You can see Dylan Kleckler's not going to play any games. He's going to get in there and he's going to get done what needs to get done. And against a
Great
guy like
counter,
Frank Tate,
great
you know what Frank
counter.
Tate told me? Frank Tate told me when he fights, it's peace for him. Like he feels this strange sense of peace.
That scares me even
Yeah,
more.
me
man.
too. And then Dylan Kleckler took a piece of Frank Tate when he knocked him out.
Great body shot right there, though. Great body shot.
I mean, you can even let the images speak for themselves of Dylan Kleckler, who is ranked for us, BKFC Rankings heavyweight style. That's what we're doing right now
Another
at
body
number
shot.
2. I mean, he comes ready to fight. And you can tell he enjoys it, too. So him and Josh Burns, I am so excited for that fight.
And again, not to give too much props because his head will get too big. To Nate Shook for matching this fight, dude. Styles make fights.
Yeah.
Josh Burns, Kleckler. It's gonna be an awesome bout. Might not get out of the first round, but it's gonna be a great fight.
You don't know.
nonetheless.
I mean, you don't know. That's why BKFC is so awesome because you never know. It could be someone you think's going to win clearly, and then they get knocked out. You hit that nerve from what I understand the jaw. You're going down. So, and I know Josh the Hammer Burns. He's got named the Hammer for a reason. We've seen him knock people out. So we're gonna see how that one goes. So that's number 2. Let's review. We got number 4, Josh Burns. Number 3, Arnold Adams.
The boogeyman.
Yeah, because they're afraid of him. And number 2, Dylan Kleckler is fighting coming up, BKFC, BKFC.com, BKTV App. So let's go for number 1. The number 1 ranked guy. This deserves a drum roll, Rob. This guy's been at the company. He's been with the company since day one.
Since Bare Knuckle Fight 1.
Record, I believe, is 4-1-1. I'm talking about Sam Shoemaker, the Hillbilly Hammer. You get hit by this guy, I'm sure you know it. He's taking on Joey Beltran, our champion, of course. I believe that'll be later on.
These guys, and I can tell you, man.
Oh, here's right hand. That might be game, set, match, and it is. Whoa. A1.
Look at him. You just saw him. Look at the way he eliminates people. He just and he hits so hard. Sam Shoemaker hits so hard, and he trains much like I saw Kleckler was training, hitting a tire with a sledgehammer. Okay.
Yeah.
Now Sam Shoemaker, I saw him hitting cinder blocks on Instagram with a sledgehammer.
This is Rocky 4, man.
No, it's real. Like that's not
No,
just
I know,
for an
it's
act.
no
That
joke.
guy from the Ozarks, he's a bad dude with bad intentions. He's actually a really nice guy, but in the ring, don't mess with him. He trains so hard. He's lifting cinder blocks, cracking cinder blocks. He's probably punching cinder blocks. He's a bad dude.
And that's how we found him. We found him at the tryouts in Philadelphia. I don't know if he drove or flew out.
Wow.
Hit the machine the hardest. Almost broke it. Had the highest. And, going into his first fight, we're talking about this, and then people are like, it's all hype. And what happens? Literally knocks out his opponent in less than 35 seconds.
Like nothing. And to break that tryout at the tryout, to break the machine, that takes a lot. And I respect that he drove and flew in wherever. He came from the Ozarks to Philadelphia at the world famous ECW Arena, by the way.
Yeah.
And he really showed up. And that's why tryouts are so important too, because you never know. We think we found Lorenzo Hunt at tryouts too.
Man, all these fighters are coming through the tryouts. More fighters are coming through the tryouts. Those are the people that are the hungriest, man. If you're driving half of a country away to show up on a whim, it's not guaranteed. You're pulling money out of your pocket. And these guys aren't rich by any stretch of the imagination.
I mean, Bobo O'Bannon right now from that shot that Sam just gave.
There it is,
He looked like he was out to lunch, and now he's stepping back up. Props to Bobo for stepping back up.
Bobo just caught him with a good left too, but Sam just kept coming forward.
When Sam's on you, like white on rice,
Yeah.
like spots on dice, like cool on ice. He's all over you, man. You like that?
That's smooth, brother.
Yeah.
I gotta adapt some of that, man.
I don't know where that even came from. That just came out of my brain. But they're the official rankings, of course. Joey Beltran, the top of the heap because he's the king of the mountain right now, the baddest man on the planet.
Champion.
And we're very excited to see. It's interesting because if you look at those rankings, the top 4, you have the heavyweight title, 2 of the guys eliminator in that. Then you have the heavyweight title match with Shoemaker and Beltran, and then you have Arnold Adams, who I saw a recent interview. He's just laying in wait. He's gonna take the title. He says so. It's gonna be very exciting. It's gonna get more exciting. We want to know in the comments section too where your rankings are. Do you agree with those rankings? We'd love to hear from you as well and your reasoning. Josh Burns just showed up in the comments.
Burns is
the
in the
Hammer
comments.
is here.
Awesome,
What's up,
man.
Hammer? Glad you're in the comments. We love Josh Burns. We love all the fighters, and we love when you guys get involved. Josh, we hope you're happy with your number 4 ranking. And if I know Josh Burns, I can't see his comments, but he's probably saying something like, "You rank me at number 4. You're gonna. That doesn't matter because he's gonna jump everybody and become the champion." I guarantee that's what Josh is saying. Something like that. Let's see if I'm right. Here's the comments.
Yeah, he's in the chat now.
Josh Burns, the Hammer. We got the Tiger Life guys and Josh Burns.
Brian, you just earned another heavyweight champion fan. Nice rankings. But this is why we fight. So guys that push pencils for a living don't get to say who the best is.
Hey, I mean, all I'm doing is reading my list they gave to me. I don't need another Arnold Adams situation. This is not me. This is the things that were given to me. I'm just reading them out.
All right, I'll take the heat off you a little bit, Josh.
We love you,
Josh. This is my personal rankings now. Now, these are my rankings based off of a plethora of different things. I'm going to get into that right now. And these are the BKFC rankings of how I view the fighters. And this is my top 5. My top 5 spot goes to Josh Burns. And the reason why
because he's in the comment section, you're nervous
not
now.
at all. Not at all. And the reason why is, again, there's only one fight we've seen him in BKFC.
Yeah.
He's fought overseas. He's fought some
talented.
game components.
Very talented.
I've seen him fight. I can't rank him any higher, though, unfortunately, because we've only seen him one time in BKFC.
And we need to stress that, Rob.
Yeah.
I know we said it before, for people just tuning in. We respect what all the fighters have done elsewhere, but this is just in BKFC. We're looking at that. And again, Josh, I know you just joined. If we saw you fight Sam, if that wasn't canceled, I know you were there waiting to fight, maybe it would be a little different, but that's kind of what we're analyzing now.
Yeah, I mean, and so how do you even get into the heavyweight rankings? Like, he would not be in my rankings if I did not take into consideration that he fought and he's dominated opponents in other organizations. I took that into consideration.
Oh, so you took all that into consideration for your own rankings. Okay.
Correct.
Understood.
Again, he's 1-0. He really shouldn't even be on my list or a list in sense, but I take that into consideration.
We're both having a rough time with speaking today.
It's a tough one, man. And he knocked out Sorrow in that match. There's some beef with that. I want to get Josh
bad blood
on.
there. Yeah,
maybe
I
we
want to
can
talk
get Josh on next week to go over that, because it did not look good. No. After he knocked him down, knocked him out, I mean, he was standing, he was screaming at him. They had to pull him off of him.
Rip him off.
Because apparently something happened in the weigh-ins. But I'd
let
love
me
to get
speak
Josh
about
Burns.
Josh really quick.
Okay.
I was watching him because he was there to promote that he was coming up with the heavyweight title eliminator. And Josh is a workhorse, man. He was, I think, in the hotel gym more than I would see him anywhere. He was always sweating. He was always doing cardio. He's always getting ready in the hotel gym. This guy, I mean, all the fighters work really hard, but I barely saw him except when he was in the hotel gym and coming in and out. He was in there a lot. He's getting ready. He knows this is a huge opportunity for him coming up, and I think he wants to take that heavyweight title like most people would. So we're excited to see what comes of Josh Burns and the heavyweight title eliminator coming up. BKTV App, BKFC.com.
Moving right along, my number 4 spot, and I gave my number 5. I apologize. So I gave my
Rob
top
adds
5.
one.
I had one. My number 4 spot is now Dylan Kleckler, 2-0.
Okay.
All the reasons we talked about. Basically just annihilated his last opponent. He fought Frank Tate, a very game opponent.
Yeah.
He has to win. Again, the guy has a lot of skill. He's quick. I'm really excited to see him versus Josh Burns again. I think that's a great matchup. Yeah. And I'm not, whether Burns is in these comment sections or not, I'm not going to lie. I can't pick either one. I would not bet on either one.
No, it's going to be a good fight.
Going to be a great fight.
It's interesting, too, to see the fighters like a guy like Kleckler. You see the Chris Jensen fight, and then you see him level up a little against Frank Tate. So you can see their careers grow within BKFC because our organization is so young. And you're seeing that, again, the career within BKFC, same with Josh. So now you got a 1-0 guy versus a 2-0 guy, and, respected fighter versus a guy that's extremely respected in BKFC right now. And it's going to be fun to watch as their careers progress and see who does get the W there. I'm excited for that as well.
Yeah, and it's different. BKFC is different. It's a different sport.
Yeah.
It's different than boxing overseas. It's different than bare knuckle boxing in Europe,
Different world,
Thailand.
man.
Yeah, it's totally different. So how they adapt, they just get better and better after each fight. And now they're going into it with a pretty stacked record between the two. It's going to be exciting.
And you're watching that progression. We're talking about heavyweights now, but all weight classes. It's interesting to see how the sport is going to grow more and more, and how you're seeing styles creep into it now, and it's just changing with every show. So it's so cool to be a part of this. Let's continue on with your rankings.
All right. Well, it looks like we're going to have a surprise guest very
I don't know.
soon.
I heard a door open behind me. I didn't look. I'm nervous who's coming in.
We have a surprise guest that's coming into the studio.
Oh, man. Be on your best. Do we have a mic for him?
I don't think we have a mic for him, but he might be coming in to beat up my rankings, to beat up my my positions.
Chair something, boss?
Gonna stand.
Do you want a chair? He's not on the shot. We didn't know you were coming in today.
Thanks for the good welcome, guys. Thanks for getting me involved.
Come over here. The camera's over here. Come here.
I didn't know you were in here today. Come, sweetie. Sit.
We're gonna. Can we get him a chair?
President,
we're gonna adjust the camera.
President, I'll tell people what's going on. This kind of came out of the blue. President David Feldman joining us. I didn't even realize he was in the building today. So when he's in the building, I mean, it's a lot of love in the BKFC offices, right? I just get, I get
never
a
know.
little shaky. My hair's getting gray.
You
I
never
get
know
nervous.
if we did a good thing or a bad thing. But I'm going
Are
to.
we in trouble?
Yeah, I'm going to
Yeah,
keep.
I did, and then I'll let you come into this thing. I did hear the rankings. I thought they had
Hold on. Let's get you on
he's
mic.
got-
When you're not on
all right.
mic, nobody's gonna hear you, Dave. Hold on. Can you kind of let him borrow
Yeah,
the mic
come
real
here,
quick?
man.
I can't get this one over there. Unless you can use this.
I did hear the rankings. I thought that they were pretty on point. I didn't get to view them until I just saw them. I think it's pretty on point, but I think within the next 2 months, those rankings are really going to flip flop with
yeah.
some of the heavyweight signings that we have coming over.
You
from
have heavyweight
England.
signings?
Yeah, we've got a lot of signings. We actually just completed some.
Okay, hold on,
I'm not going to tell you who it is. I'm just saying
Okay.
we have a lot of heavyweight signings that in the next 3 to 4 months, this heavyweight division is really going to take a good mix.
And Dave, I must say, I mean, we talk about this all the time off the air. It's a stacked heavyweight division already. So now you're adding more people into it. You're signing more people, and you're saying this so we can know this is going to be true. It's going to get even better. That's hard to believe.
As opposed to if you said it.
If I said it, BS is more my initials, Brian Sosha, and BS comes out of my mouth a lot. As they like to make fun of me about around here. But that's exciting.
Man, that's smooth today.
I am. My brain's not even working. Can you believe it?
No way.
All right, so
Yeah, I'm sorry.
wait. I want him commenting on Rob's rankings. So we're going through Rob's
I've
rankings
got
now.
Rob's got 2 more rankings. 2 more, I promise. I'll be very fast. All right, my number two fighter. Okay, and this is where it's gonna deviate a little bit. My number 2, I have Sam Shoemaker.
Okay.
All right.
Why'd you put Sam at number 2? I'm curious.
All right, so number 1, I'll get to that in a
We're
second.
teasing
but
that, yeah.
So Sam Shoemaker, wonderful fighter, great heavyweight. He's got a huge record in BKFC
Since day one.
right? He's fought the who's who, and he's up for the next fight. He's in contention for the
He'll be
belt
walking out
versus belt
champion.
Yeah. So I mean, he's fought some great opponents. Great knockout. His very first fight. Then from there, he's some decision wins and some decision losses, or decision loss. Excuse me. And I love to rank him a little bit higher, but the number 1 rank has to go to the man who beat him, Arnold Adams, who was the
Ooh.
champion.
Okay.
Right? Arnold Adams took some time off. I was following him on social media, and he was, complaining about, not complaining, excuse me. It was like the weight cut was hard on him. He had some issues with his back. Again, I talked about this last week. I'm like, man, this isn't going to be a good fight. Wow. That dude just came he came running out of left field.
Funny
A whole new fighter, man.
Same thing with Sam Shoemaker. In Sam's last fight, we saw a brand new Sam Shoemaker.
Yeah.
And that's
In
why
Arnold Adams' fight, we saw a brand new Arnold Adams. And coincidentally, they were both against the same opponent. But with that being said, I had a talk with both of those guys, and I said, look, this is a different animal. It's a different sport. This is a whole different thing, and we're not here to outbox one another. We're here to outfight one another.
Well, it's fighting
So you got to
championship.
fight your ass off if you want to be a star in this promotion, in this company, in this sport. And they both listened and delivered.
They sure did deliver. And we have President David Feldman here with us, who just kind of showed up. So we're trying to get the mic situation going. We're happy to have you here. Arnold Adams, I want to make a comment about him. And this is just my opinion. I have to always be careful when I talk about that man, as we know. But since he kind of took some time off and we didn't see him for a while, and then he shows back up on the scene, it was a great fight with the Bobo knockout. That was awesome. I'm not taking anything away from him. But he's also been gone for a while. So I feel like we need another litmus test to make sure this is the fighter that is going to advance even higher in their official rankings, not Rob's rankings, although I do respect them.
Sure.
And Arnold does deserve to be up there. Again, he's beaten our champion, he's beaten Sam Shoemaker, and he's our first ever BKFC champion. There are 3 huge things I think that should go into the rankings. But let's see if he's going to climb up the rankings or he's going to drop down the rankings. That's what's going to be interesting about Arnold Adams. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, and you literally just summarized why I
Sorry.
picked him. No. That's literally you wrapped everything up in a bow for me, and that's why I picked him as my number 1. It's because everything that you just said.
Well, thank you.
I can't argue. I don't know how anyone else could not rank him as number 1. I could see how Shoemaker is number 1 coming off of that win. Being a little bit more active than Adams has been. So I want to hear from the fans, though. This is almost like a tier list of who do they rank. What is their top 4? What is their top 5 fighters? And of course, Joey Beltran, he's at the top of the heap. He's the champion. He deserves to be the champion.
Baddest SOB on the planet
Exactly.
right now.
So, he's the champion. So he's not ranked in that order because he's the champ. Just
So
to clarify.
in the comments section, throw your top 4 out to us. We'd love to see it. We love hearing from you to the fans, which we said is like La Familia. Very important to hear your rankings. David has something.
I missed what you guys were saying earlier. I don't know. Did we show a clip of the Brian Social Arnold Adams
We showed that
fight?
last week. I feel like every single show that could show. Hey, let me tell a quick story since you brought that up, David. When we were on site for Fight Week, if you missed it, go back and watch it. The clowns, the producers, the monkeys in the truck, I call them. They didn't prepare me for any of the interviews. People were just getting floated in, and all of a sudden, here comes this big dude walking in, Arnold Adams, Boomaya, the boogeyman, and I said, "Oh, I thought I saw a ghost. I was so nervous." And he comes sit down. I'm like, "You didn't prepare me for this." And we have our little bit of bad blood, which he claims is better now. And again, I don't know. Should I trust him? Who knows? But yeah, that was a. I'm stumbling. Jeez.
It was a great interview though, man. You guys, honestly, I thought it was going to be a little bit more tension. It was going to be.
No, he's a nice
rough.
guy.
It was good. It was great. You guys did.
You didn't see him rough me up in the hallway afterwards.
Nah.
That's why. Yeah. So, I mean, that's the Rob's rankings. That's the official
my
BKFC
rankings.
Heavyweight Rankings. I would imagine that we're going to continue with these rankings, all different weight classes as the weeks come. We'll release more.
Exactly. Next week, I think we're going to release at least one, maybe two. So I'm going to hold off on that. Yeah. We have to get the official rankings. Then we'll get my rankings. You guys can beat me up. Let me know whether it's approved, disapproved, or with the fans. I'd love to hear what the fans have to say.
That's
about
really
the
important to
rankings.
us. That's really important.
Drop it in the comments, man. It's real easy. Just drop it in your comments. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I would even say, throw it on your socials. Get other fans involved that aren't watching the podcast. Say, what do you think the rankings should be for BKFC? And start the comments there, because we're always looking at social media and seeing what the fans are saying. So make sure you get involved with that. I think we're pretty much wrapping up the heavyweight rankings. You want to go through them one more time? Heavyweight champion Joey Beltran, of course. And then you have Sam Shoemaker, number 1, official rankings. Number 2, you have Dylan Kleckler. Number 3, we have Arnold Adams. And number 4, Josh Burns. And you're going to see Josh Burns versus Dylan Kleckler, heavyweight title eliminate fighter, BKTV App, BKFC.com. That's coming up April 30th. Looking forward to that.
Man.
Make sure you check that out. I think we're going to go to...
It's only,
we have no commercial here. Okay, good. We'll do that later. So let's just keep going. As far as the rankings and releasing more rankings, what's going to be the criteria for that? I mean, is there a certain criteria we're going by? I wasn't involved in these rankings, so I'm asking.
Brian, we've got different experts in the sport, different writers, different people that have been around combat sports for a long time from all different varieties. These are the people that are compiling the rankings. We're not just sitting here and going, "Hey, what do you think, Rob? Hey, what do you think?" And our favorite fighter. This is we're getting them from outsiders. We're actually going to announce that panel. I'll let you guys announce that next week.
Thanks.
Here.
Well, yeah, I didn't realize that. I was wondering what the criteria was, and I think that's amazing that we're talking to respected people in the sport, and we're not just throwing stuff at the wall, because it always makes sense to hear from people that have been there before and that are geniuses on the sport. So we're looking forward to find out who's in the ranking system, and I'm sure it's a good one. What's the next ranking we're coming up with? Do you know the next ones we're going to release? Have you talked about that yet?
I think all of them are going to be done next week, actually.
They're all going to be done?
I think they're all going to be done next week.
Oh, wow. Hey.
So what do you want to talk about, Brian? Which one would you like to hit on next? You tell me.
Next week?
Yeah. What
There's so many good weight classes.
I feel hold on to I think the 135, the 145, 155 those pools are deep.
Yeah,
they're ocean
That's
deep.
what I mean.
So
I feel like it doesn't even matter what we want. I think that
I know.
the beautiful thing about BKFC is a lot of times we throw it in the fans' lap. So why don't we put that in the comment section too? What is the next weight division you want to see us ranking? Let us know that in the comment section.
Let us know now. We will pick it. We will pick it based off of the comments.
Yeah, we want to know what
That's
you think.
fun,
We always
man.
like to find
I
that
like
stuff
that.
out. Yeah, you got to get the fans
Yeah,
involved. La
that's
Familia,
cool.
like I said.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's you know what? I know we have to do we didn't do the knockout of the week yet. We're going to get to that too coming up.
Yeah.
Let's get to the Tiger Life commercial first because we want to support our sponsors. What's
Absolutely.
your wine life, Tiger Life? I'm going to drink some right now during the commercial.
Tiger Life is not about race or religion, black or white, young or old, male or female. It's not about where you live or where you're from. It's about finding your why in life. Tiger Life is a way of life. It's a purpose, a light, the future. We all have a story to tell, so let's tell it. It's time to be heard. Just remember, we may not be able to rewrite our story, but we sure as hell could change the ending. Tiger Life. Energy never tasted so good. Tiger Life is not about race or religion, black or white, young or old, male or female. It's not about where you live or where you're from. It's about finding your why.
Well, Rob, we were just talking about people in the chat about what weight division we should rank next. After you're just tuning in, we just ranked the official rankings for the heavyweight title division, and people are going nuts in the chat. So keep that comment. We want to know what division you want us to rank next, and we'll get into that more next week. But right here and now, it's time for this. I don't think you've ever been in here for this, David.
Yeah, for our weekly
This
segment?
is huge. Look, we have a professional thing up here. Watch this. Watch this. It's time for the knockout of the week. Who? Oh, look, I threw it out there. That was
That's awesome,
It actually
man.
worked for me this week. That was
Yeah.
great. So first,
timing.
let's do the knockout of the week. My first one, I'll do it first if you don't mind.
Cool.
Was from BKFC 12, I believe it was. It was Lorenzo Hunt and Eric Lozano. And the reason I picked this is because Lorenzo Hunt was just announced. I mean, you can watch it here. We have
There
it up
it
here.
is.
He was just announced that he's going to be fighting coming up against Josh Dyer at BKFC 17 on April 30th. You can see that, by the way, BKTV App, BKFC.com. But if you watch this, boom, he drops him. We talked about this earlier, Joe. We talked about it earlier about him. He just whacks him.
Killed him.
And then, look, Lorenzo has such charisma, too. That's why I enjoy. Look, he's all pumped up. He was yelling at the guy. I know, Dave, you don't love him. People do that. I'm not you. I'm not Rob. I enjoy the showmanship. Lorenzo Hunt, best pure athlete in the BKFC.
So much emotion.
Yeah.
So much emotion
Watch,
coming from that
watch
man.
this. It's insane. He just takes him out.
He throws with bad intention.
He sure does.
Yeah,
and
he does.
Yeah, from a fighter's perspective, because Rob and I have never been professional fighters. No, David has. I mean, when you see a knockout like this, what goes through your mind, David?
I mean, it's what the sport's all about. It's what the sport's all about. They go in there and they bang, and that's the kind of guys that we have fighting for us, and that's why Lorenzo Hunt, I think, could be at star at BKFC with bare knuckle fighting, because he does want to hurt somebody. I mean, he has bad intentions, and in every punch that he throws, there's bad intentions. So, and he's got charisma. He comes with that walkout he does.
Sure does.
He does his
Dances.
his little thing.
He always
with
looks
his
so
hands.
relaxed. He always looks so calm when he's fighting, too, I
Yeah.
feel like. And the other thing about Lorenzo is, I've said this before, I don't know if you heard me, and you agree or not, you don't have to, but I believe, my opinion, he's the best, not just fighter. I think I'm not saying that. I'm saying he's the best pure athlete in BKFC that we have right now, all around. He's incredible, the way the guy moves in the ring. I know that you have your knockout of the week, and I'm curious. You always have a good one, Rob.
My knockout of the week, again, I switch it up between actually a true knockout, a trending story, or something that might make people feel uncomfortable. And this is going to fall in the uncomfortable territory right now, is that I'm going to give a big shout out to the New York Police Department for arresting that fucking scumbag that kicked I think it was an 86-year-old lady. And like three or four different people from a department store actually just watched it, didn't even call it in.
Now they shut the door.
Yeah, they shut
the door.
Yeah, I mean, dude, stuff like that just like
So did
stuff
you
like
hear?
that pisses me off so much. But
did you hear a little bit about the guy's background or not?
oh yeah, what a hero who killed his mother. I think back in
killed his mother,
2002.
too.
I thought it was his wife.
His
Mother
wife-
or wife,
regardless,
whatever
how's
it
he
was.
walking the
Yeah,
street?
I don't want to miss.
Didn't he do 20 years or something?
So yeah, the guy's out on the street, and
So he did time first for though.
he did time
How
for
did that
that.
not rehabilitate you?
Yeah,
You're
I
right.
mean,
That's
go
what I'm
in,
saying.
Probably come out, go in.
It was
One way
disgusting.
and
When
come
I
out
watched,
once.
it was disgusting. I actually got up from the dinner table to watch it. It was disgusting. It was disgusting. And then they came on later and said about his history and his rap sheet. And how are people like this even walking on the street? And why do we waste our money even trying him for anything? Like for that, stomping on an old lady's head, he should be for attempted murder.
But there's absolutely no motive for that, right? I mean, there's no motive that any sane person would accept. I mean, did they even say anything about what his crazy motive was? There's nothing that would be good enough to hear, right?
No, and there's a lot to it. There's a lot, as the cool kids would say. Like, there's a lot to unwrap from this, this story. And I want to try to, keep it as positive as possible. She got out of the hospital apparently with just a broken pelvis, which is, phenomenal that she's even alive. And
Thank God she's
thoughts
alive.
and prayers with her and her
Yeah,
family.
in the chat too. Drop your thoughts and prayers for someone like that.
Getting him off the street is my knockout of the week. So I don't want to confuse it like I'm supporting what happened to her.
No.
My knockout is getting that scumbag off the street.
And that was in New York?
New York City.
New York knockout. There it is. The New York knockout of the week.
Yeah,
And I'm glad they got
so
him
the
off to it.
people that just watched it too, go F yourself.
No, but hold on,
honestly, for not doing anything about it.
Wait a minute. Let's talk about that. I had a friend that says that he says when stuff like that happens, he's a good guy, but
Mm-hmm.
he's like, in today's society, you want to help, but as soon as you help, you could have a lawsuit against you. I mean, I probably would jump in to help.
All right,
Does that enter your mind at all?
I want to kick it.
Where's the fucking outcry, though?
Dude, I want.
Where is the outcry?
I don't even want to get to that. I want to kick it to you. I want to kick it to fans. If it, I put myself in perspective. What if that was my mother?
Exactly.
What if that was my grandmother? What if it was
Awful,
someone?
man.
And whether if it wasn't or not, just being a good person, a wholesome person. Be the hero that you want to be. I think Joe Rogan said that. Be your own hero of your own story,
Yeah, you're
right?
right. Yep.
So how would you respond to that? And I would say, you know what? If my son was watching me, and if I want my son to be, an honorable person, what type of person would I be if I just let that go and I did not respond? Whether it's picking up a telephone call, whether it's shouting at the person.
Yeah, but at
Do
the end of the day,
something.
Rob, I I get you. But at the end of the day, it looks like justice is going to be served. He was picked up. He's going to get arrested for it.
Josh is heated.
He's going to do what he was supposed to do. Like you said, the New York Police Department or whoever was involved did the right job and got this scumbag off the streets.
I agree. I'm sorry to take us down a dark hole.
No, it's not a dark hole. It's good that you're talking about this kind of stuff. And I see that the chat's liking it too. Of course, D Enforcer, he says 17 years the guy got parole after killing his own mom. So that's what they're saying in the chats. I don't know if that's the official thing, but I'm going by that. But you're right, David. I'm glad we got him off the streets. And props to the police. The police don't get enough respect. We respect you, and you guys deserve the kind of respect for getting scum like that off the streets. I think we have also another knockout. This is the fans' knockout of the week. Do we have one of them this week? We don't have one this week because I forgot to check the email. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I didn't have enough Tiger Life in me, so I didn't check the email. I didn't get.
All right. Well,
so just so you guys know, these two guys are suffering from what's called single father syndrome right now. They're both taking care of their babies right now, and they're tired as hell. Look at them, man.
I am. I'm exhausted. I got a 3-month-old, a 3-year-old. I'm out of my mind, and I know
neither of them are single fathers. If you
our wives are busy doing important things as well.
Absolutely.
All right, listen. Send your knockout of the weekend, and I promise you that I will check the knockout of the week, as will Rob, and we'll have a great one for you next week. And we're going to actually get to a question for Dave Sr. I don't think you know about this on screen in just a moment as people submit your knockouts to podcast at bareknuckle.tv. You surprised us, David, so we're going to surprise you with this question. I don't even know what the question is yet. They're going to throw up there. The producer, here it is. Chris wants to know, you guys got plans for BKFC putting on cards abroad?
100%. Our first partnership card will happen July 3rd in Manchester, England.
There it is.
We're going to do a show there. And then our first full-blown BKFC show abroad looks like it's going to happen in September in Moscow.
Wow, Moscow. I want to live like Rocky in Rocky 4. You put me in like in a shack in the middle.
Do you know we have more fans Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship database in Russia than we do anywhere else in the world.
I've heard that Russia really likes us. Why? I mean, they love fighting. Why do you think that is? Is it?
Well, we did a rights deal with a television network over there, and they get to see it, for free. We get well over 1 million live viewers on each and every one of our events over there.
Well, that's insane. I mean, they love us in Russia. They love us here, and it's fun to watch us grow worldwide. You might see me handing out the Tiger Life because, Rob, pop your Tiger Life top. David, pop your Tiger Life top.
Man.
Because this does it for this show. We're going to have more rankings next week. We're excited you joined us. You have an announcement too. I'm finding out all this stuff on the fly. Man. Before we cheers to Tiger Life, let's hear your. I didn't know we had a major. Is that why you walked in here and shocked me today? I didn't even know we had. I'm still off format.
We actually have the gentleman that helps control regulatory affairs for us, Tommy Sconza. He's associate with the ISKA, also with a lot of different commissions around. Former kickboxer, really great all around guy. Also, he is an investment banker. He's into investments and does retirement plans and things like that. So we've been talking on and off for the past about 6 months on this, and it looks like the fans are going to get what they want. I'm out. No.
Happy April Fool's Day.
It looks like BKFC has finally culminated and came together, and is going to be able to launch it first ever in the history of the world, the first ever combat sports fighting pension for the fighters.
Wow.
Oh, are you kidding me?
Now we're gonna,
dude, that's huge.
That's
awesome. We're gonna do a pension for the fighters. We're gonna put a little bit of money away from them each and every one of their fights. We're gonna hold it for them for about 5 years or so at least, and then they can they can have some money to fall back on.
Dave, I feel like that's very important for fighters. You see a lot of fighters who are at the top of their game, and they might not be able to retire like that. What moved you to do that? I mean, you haven't seen anyone else do it. Why haven't they done it yet? Why are we the first to do that?
Because it costs you money. I mean, it costs money to do it. So, a lot of people don't want to incur that expense, but we see it as the fighters are the most important asset of this company right now in this sport. So you got to take care of the fighters and make sure that they have something to fall back on. And, we're going to do what we can do for the fighters. We also have another great thing coming up, but that partnership's not done, and that's also going to really help the fighters as well. It's with a company that we just met out of Louisiana. They're going to be a great partner of ours, and we'll announce that maybe in 2 weeks. But look, at the end of the day, is these fights that you're showing, these knockouts, everything that you're showing, it's the fighters.
Yeah.
So you got to take care of them, right? It's especially if they're promoting for us, if they're fighting their asses off and making us become we are the most exciting combat sport in the world. We are the fastest growing combat sport company in the world. And it's because of the fighters. I mean, we have a great team. You guys are all great. We're all a great team.
It's the fighters.
But if these guys weren't going out there and fighting their asses off, we wouldn't have anything.
We don't even talk about.
So we have to take care of them. And, maybe other companies and other promotions in MMA or boxing will, follow our lead
Hopefully.
and take care of these fighters that are putting their lives on the line each and every time.
Now, do you think that since you were a former professional fighter, which I'm sure you could step back at any time, don't get upset when I say former because you're still there, you're still looking at him. He's got arms that are huge, Mr. Spectacular over there. Make him dance, Dave. There he goes.
Super
Zoom in on
macho
that.
man.
So, but do you think, we've talked about this before, you're a former fighter yourself. I mean, you understand what these guys, what these women go through. Do you think it made it easier for you to make that decision?
No, absolutely. I think I think the fighters need to be taken care of a little bit better.
Sure.
We pay them better, and now we're going to make sure they have something to fall back on a little bit as well.
And I just saw something pop up on the screen, and I know you'll be bashful. You'll be like, it's cool. But I couldn't see what it was, but I saw it really quick. It's saying, we as fighters love you. And I see that too. When we do these BKFC events, and I'm speaking to the fighters, I mean, they really know you take care of them. So that's contagious around the organization because it makes everybody want to fight harder. It makes them want to be here. We said it jokingly, but we mean it. We're like a big family, which is a cool place to work.
Well, I mean, don't get don't get ahead of yourself here, Brian. You're not going to my dinner table, buddy.
He's you know what, family. He's like the big brother that picks on me. That's what he is. David's the big brother.
Listen,
that picks
man.
on me.
It's great. It's great that we were able to complete this again. I want to take my hat off to Tommy Sconza.
Thank you,
Man, he
Tommy.
put this thing together for us and showed us how to do this, and he's going to be integral in moving this forward. I think it's gonna show other fighters, look, we're vying for free agency. The fighters that are coming up for free agency, and this is going to be another reason why they can come fight for the hottest, fastest growing, most exciting combat sports promotion in the world.
Yeah, I agree. And, as I see some people in the chat that are very excited about you doing this, and I also see people that saying it's great. I also see some other podcasts in the chat, so I hope that when you give this info out, you credit it to the BKFC podcast because we got an exclusive today. We didn't know we were getting it.
Awesome.
Thank God you came in. My mind was like all over the place today. Listen, I think that about does it for us today, right? Are we any more major announcements that I don't know about? All right.
Let me drop our biggest signing. No. I can't.
Oh, you got me all excited.
Now, listen, really, man. Thanks, guys. You guys are doing a great job.
Thanks, David.
I am, and I'm not saying this to be corny, but I'm a fan. I mean, I like watching it now. At first, I was like, am I going to like this?
It was
But
rough.
you guys are really connecting well. You're doing a great job, and the fighters are fighting their asses off. April 30th, we're opening up another new state.
It's going to be awesome.
We just
Alabama.
opened up 2 new states this week, which you guys can announce next week on the show. So things are really looking great for us, and the outlook on the promotion is tremendous. The fighters are awesome. The team is awesome. The fans are the best in the world. So here's to BKFC.
All right, Alabama going to be off the charts. Cheers
And-
to BKFC and Tiger Life.
Tiger Life.
As we say, you want to do it today? We say knuckle up. Usually you can do it. You're the president. Look at that camera and tell them to knuckle up as we head to next week. Go ahead and do it.
Knuckle up.